Welcome one and welcome all. I see Susan's already got the chat started. Reality ends at the beginning. I'm glad I missed the beginning because then I wouldn't have been able to continue on. It would have been the end. We don't want that. I think my camera got knocked a little bit here. I feel like I'm a little off-centered on this one. Bam. Maybe I just said it wrong. That's always a strong possibility. That might be a little better. Let's try that. All right. So we are playing some music tonight. Played this music earlier today wearing an entirely different purple shirt. I know. It's crazy how I manage this kind of thing. I don't even know where I come up with time. It's like 7 hours in between and I changed a shirt. Great. Also went for like a 6-mile run, and I was gonna make a pizza, but something went horribly wrong with my dough, and it came out worse than any dough I've ever made for any recipe in my entire life. So that the pizza did not happen today. It's just a sad thing. So I made some Alfredo and some eggs and sausage. It was good. I did well with that. No complaints. Well, that song was called The First Funeral. This album is called Finite Reality. This is my 60th album. And this whole album, there was a short period from my 55th album to my 64th album where I just kind of knocked them out one week at a time, as I occasionally do. And I felt like that chunk of my albums, many of them were among my better work. And I've always really enjoyed playing this one in a live context. So hopefully anyone out there watching and listening or listening, whatever you're doing out there, hope you're having a good time with it. Let's continue on. Let's do a little D minor action here. Haven't done D minor, I shouldn't say I haven't done D minor for a while since I played this song 8 hours ago. This is called The Ghost of Temptation. All right. Welcome, Glenn. Welcome, Therese. Welcome, Stephen. We got a party going on here at the Mad Poet Live Performance. Online thing. Stuff. That stuff. Stephen, specifically for you, in that I decided to switch from a D minor to a D Hungarian minor, playing the fourth mode of the Byzantine major scale. Hopefully you picked up on that. Did I hear you leverage a Mixolydian scale? I have a suggestion for your next album name, Modal and F. That is a compliment. No, I think what you were probably hearing in that case was where I switched into the Hungarian minor. Most likely is what you were hearing in that case. And yeah, it's a good feel. It's a good feel. It is possible. I actually kind of concluded out of the Hungarian minor with a major 3. And the major 3 could contribute to a little bit more of a Mixolydian feel as I was transitioning back. And so that's a possibility. I'm not sure how to pronounce the 8X Xinomech 125. Want to become famous by followers, primes, and viewers on bigfollows.com. Or how about if I don't? How does that one work for you, little thing? Does that work for you if I don't buy things from you? Yeah, because that's what's going to happen. See? Look into my eyes, punk. This is where I wish this was in person so I could face this heckler. Get out. Go do anything else. And stay away from cool people who actually like my music, who are actually decent human beings. All right. Yeah, Susan, you and Stephen Paris would get along very well. He is an excellent musician. Susan is also an excellent musician. She's one of my students and a friend for a long time. Now, I think I've known Stephen probably known Stephen for 18, 19 years now. I've probably known Susan for, probably 12 or 13. So yeah, these are definitely longtime friends. Excellent musicians. I got some very, I just surround myself with cool people, very much unlike 8X Xinomech 125, who is not a cool person, and I hope that you don't like it. That's right. Oh, you hurt my feelings. Yeah, go call your mom. See how she'll tell you that you're still a special princess. I won't. All right. I don't know, did you notice this was a metal show? Dude, or dudette, or whatever you are? All right. 2000, okay, yeah, 12 years. That's awesome. Good stuff. All right, so this next song is actually inspired by an old band. I think that they're actually still active. And I kind of came of age as a metalhead on these guys. A band called Metal Church. They had an album called Metal Church, on which there was a song called Metal Church, because they were just extremely imaginative with their titling that way. They had a bunch of great music, though. Still a big fan of Metal Church. And just the feel of that title track is kind of the feel I went for in parts of this song. Yeah, you should call your mom. I will let you tell that story in chat if you want to. I don't feel comfortable telling that part of your story. But yeah, for people familiar with that old Metal Church stuff, you might find parts of this comfortable. Definitely not a copy by any means. I do not plagiarize, but this is definitely a call out to Metal Church. This song is titled 6 Hours Ago. Well, we're just getting right friendly over here in chat, it looks like. I see Metal Diva's come back. Metal Diva came in, I believe, for the first time at the noon show today. Welcome back, Metal Diva. Thank you very much. It's always great when a person shows up to a stream for the first time. Like, oh, hey, new people, new potential, trying to build a crowd, build an audience. And it's even better when they come back because it's like, oh, okay, they actually liked what I did. That's great. So great to see you. And also we got, Dr. Gack and Therese kind of talking. Holy 30-second notes, Randy. You're going to get the fretboard blisters. Oh, that's a good one. Copy. Paste. That's going in the quotes file. I think what may be my favorite ever quote about my guitar playing came from a friend who has sadly passed. The first time that she heard me play guitar, she said, Randy's fingers, when Randy plays guitar, his fingers look like Wile E. Coyote's legs. And I was like, that's awesome. But yeah, that's a great compliment, man. Thank you very much. And yeah. Hey, thank you very much, Stephen. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, great. If you couldn't miss it, that's exactly what I'm shooting for. I just love playing music. And I think that's, I know Stephen and Susan are both musicians here in the chat. Oh, Metal Diva is now hosting. Thank you very much for hosting. Very cool. Love it. Always appreciated when people are sharing my music in any way. But yeah, like I said, any musicians in here, any musicians that you talk to are likely to report something very similar, that it's just, you just love doing the music. And in the earlier show, I had someone in chat talking about how he had attempted to become a guitar player at one time earlier in life and kind of gave up. And and I think that one of the things is there's a big grind in becoming the musician that you want to be. Whatever that is, you might be just a person who wants to sit around playing, campfire songs for your grandkids around the fire. Or you might want to, do instrumental rock like I do. You might want to be, doing dance music. Whatever it is. The people who really achieve those goals are the people who just sit and do the grind and don't think of it as a grind. I've never sat playing scales and thought, oh, golly, my time's slipping away. I'm just like, oh, this is awesome. So, yeah. Oh, Twitch crashed in the afternoon show. Oh, that sucks. Yeah. I don't know what the story would be with that. I don't think that was on my end. I know every once in a while, because I am on the Starlink beta internet, every once in a while, the show will glitch out for everyone. And usually it comes back on. I've had a couple times where the show just ends and it's like, okay, the internet is over at my house. It happens. But we're not going to slow it down yet. We are going to slow it down in a little bit, but we're not going to slow it down yet. This next song, we're getting into a little C sharp minor, so we're getting close to where people want to be, but we're not there yet. We're only off by one note, just that one little note of difference. It's all we're just missing an A sharp to get where we really want to be, but we will get there. This song is in C sharp minor. That's still a nice upbeat piece. This is called On the Run. And I did it. I did it because I'm a fidgeter. And so I'm always fiddling with my guitar picks and my fingers and stuff and my computer mouse trackball thing. And so sometimes I just click somewhere else and then I go to dramatically hit my space bar to start the next song and I get nothing. So let's dramatically hit the space bar and start the next song. This is called On the Run. And hello, Miss Sarah. Thanks for stopping in. I just realized I was supposed to wake you up after your nap, and I didn't do it. She's here in the house with me, but my music probably woke her up. Actually, I do a lesson right before my evening show on Fridays, and it was a pretty quick turnaround tonight. Susan and I, who is, at least was in chat, she may still be watching, she's been writing some really cool music that we've been going over, and yeah, we had a really good discussion about some of the finer points of music theory and rhythm theory tonight. It was very fun. And thank you very much, Glenn. Much appreciated. Always love hearing that people are liking what I'm doing. Keep the compliments coming, unless I suck. Then let the compliments drop, and I'll hopefully figure that out. But speaking of the finer points of music theory, this next piece, we're going to slow it down a little bit, and we're going to get a little weird. This one switches from, it's known as a parallel modulation, and I switch from E Locrian to E Phrygian. So the same root, two different modes. It's kind of an unusual parallel modulation. It's normally just like a minor to major kind of thing, but there's no reason you can't do this stuff modally. So that's what we're going to do, and it's kind of slower paced piece. Pretty fun. I enjoy this one. And oh, Metal Diva. Glad you liked it. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. So I have no idea how many people are actually watching, but we definitely got a good chat going here. Yeah, hypothetically, there is a viewer count on this, but usually, right now it says there are 0 people watching, which is clearly not accurate. So whatever. It doesn't matter. As long as there are people out there watching, I'll keep playing. You know, even if no one was watching, I'd keep doing this because it's either play live or just sit here and play guitar anyway. So might as well play live. Might as well dress it up and do it up. So let's do this. All right. This next piece, E Phrygian, E Locrian, parallel modulation. This is called You May Be Wondering. Welcome, welcome, Ted37. Welcome back. Yes, I do remember you from earlier today. We talked a little bit, and I'm glad you have made it back. I'm glad that you wanted to make it back. That's always a very good thing. And I'm just, I've had like 4 or 5 people from earlier today have already showed up in chat and said, hey, remember me from earlier? So yes, thank you very much. And speaking of earlier, Stephen, hopefully you're still on. Stephen made an excellent comment about this next song. He said that it was a very good song to eat a vegan enchilada to. And I'm like, now that's a compliment right there. That's how you give a compliment, Steve. The soundtrack for a vegan enchilada. That's beautiful. So, this song, as a lot of people know, on every album I do, I dedicate at least one song to someone that I know, someone that I like, to someone. So far, it's always been to people that I like. I haven't dedicated songs to anyone I dislike. That wouldn't really make much sense from my own personal perspective. But this one was kind of part of and actually last week I also played one of the albums that was in this 4-series sequence where I dedicated songs to my deceased grandparents. This one's going out to my grandmother Marie Bentley, who is not going to be tuning in today because of her current medical condition, known as dead. So, this is not only a song for the dead, it's also a song for the eating of a vegan enchilada. And those just match up perfectly. This is called The Shadow's Embrace. Drink lots of water, kids. Okay, so a couple comments on that particular piece. Hey, thank you, Glenn. Much appreciated. So, one, I mentioned this in the earlier show before I played it, but that's in B flat minor, which is one of the more challenging keys on the guitar because it eliminates your open strings if you want to play in key. Thank you very much, Ted. Greatly appreciated. Another cool thing about this particular song, and Susan, I don't know if you're still on, but Susan is a student of mine, and she's awesome. She does a lot of composition, and check her out at dustyguitarmusic.com. Susan, if you're on, feel free to put your website up and let people know where to go. Particularly if you're a member of a choir or like choir music, she writes for a lot of choral stuff, and she actually took that piece and she created a choral version of it, and that is actually for sale on her websites where she sells her sheet music. And I still remember the first time that I listened to, in the sheet music programs these days, you get a playback. So I've never actually heard a full choir version, but just listening to her version of my music was just like, I broke out in a cold sweat. It was just like so amazing that someone has actually made a derivative work of one of my songs. And she did it totally with permission, totally on the up and up, because she's awesome like that. But yeah, it's just a very cool thing for me. So just between being dedicated to my Grandma Marie and the Susan thing, that song it's kind of an intense one for me, even though it's pretty laid back. But speaking of intense, we need to talk about what's going on next, because ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at the G sharp minor portion of the show. You are welcome. We like G sharp minor around here. It's awesome. Some of my albums do not have a G sharp minor portion, so it's terribly disappointing. This album clearly does, or I wouldn't have said it, because I pride myself on my accuracy. G sharp minor. I'm going to kick it up a little bit. This is a nice fun piece. It's called To Think Beyond Rationality. Cool. Oh, and I think I may have just thrown myself off here. If I don't stop my songs correctly, and they go back to the wrong spot. So let's... Okay, we should be tracking now, I do believe. Yes. Okay, I didn't even realize that we've played most of the album already. This is just kind of flying by. But it's been a good time. So we got 2 more songs left tonight. Thank you very much, Ted. Greatly appreciated. Got 2 more songs tonight, and these are both really fun songs. From my perspective, you know, it's interesting. I'm going to start a series of okay. I'm thinking about starting a series of videos. I filmed a video for Therese, who wanted to see it, who's in the chat today, about how I make my deep dish pizzas, and I never finished it. So I'm thinking about starting a series of videos, and it's going to be, you know, what I learned from, and the very first one is going to be what I learned from John Coltrane, who has been, as a saxophone player, still a massive, massive influence on the way that I play guitar. And there was a time that I heard a John Coltrane interview, and he said that he wished he could listen to his music as though he'd never heard it before. Just to have that experience of hearing his own music as a listener. And I've actually had this experience once. It's one of the kind of interesting things about the amount of music that I have released, because there are so many songs, I don't remember them all. And we were in Sarah's car once, and this song is on, and I'm like, this is awesome, who is this? And she's like, this is you. And it was one of my lighter pieces. It got some acoustic type stuff, which, you know, she kind of tends to like more of the acoustic kind of music, lower key stuff. She's not as much of a metalhead as me. And it was just like this really surreal experience, realizing that was actually me playing. And so it's... Hey, yeah, Ted, if you're still here, thank you very much for stopping in. We hope to see you again in the future. Keep on rocking and have a great night. But yeah, it's an interesting thing for me, like wondering what other people feel like when they hear my music. Because I know what it is to me, but I don't know what it is to other people. And, you know, just the fact that I know that people have downloaded my music, bought my music, come to my shows, both in person and online. It's pretty wild. But these next 2, yeah, these get me jumped up as a musician. I love playing these. And I'll tell you, I actually did pretty well earlier on the earlier show. Usually on the first note of this song, I hit the wrong string. I always interpret it as needing to go to string 2 when it should be on string 3, and that doesn't work nearly as well. So I'm going to try to get that note instead of that note as my first one. I'm just going to leave my finger right there. And we're going to get this started. It's also, I think, one of my better song titles. Let's make sure everything's accurate here so I can actually start this correctly. This song is called A Pile of Skulls. All right, Pile of Skulls. Oh. Okay, now I got myself all thrown off again. Okay, let's try a little of this and a little of that. There we go. I think we're tracking now. Pile of Skulls, I like that one. That's one of my favorites. Now, thank you, Glenn. Always good to hear. If you're still streaming later, The Mad Poet, then I'll drop in maybe, but for now I have to go. Hey, Nate, no problem. Ted, thanks for stopping in. I've only got one more song, so very likely that I will not be on when you get back, but hey, next week we will definitely be back. I'm planning on still being alive and well and rocking next week, so I hope to catch you all. Thank you, Sarah. Much appreciated. Metal Diva, thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. It's just fun. Like I said, I just love doing this. This is so great. The fact that other people also like it just makes me so happy. So yeah, we're moving in on the last song of the evening. I have not yet decided what album I'm going to do next week. I'll probably, just tomorrow I'll look through my stuff and see which one I need to set up lights for. Basically, ever since I kind of rearranged the lights a little bit, which looks like a couple of them aren't working. Oh! Apparently the lights, these are those new lights that have to have an electrical circuit hooked up before they work. But yeah, basically when I redid the lights, I need to basically modify every album that I do now for the new light setup. So, attending the Shenanigans, that's not a bad request. We haven't done that one for a while, have we, Therese? 2 votes for it. Yeah, maybe I will pop through there and set that one up for next week. Okay. Next week, we will be attending the Shenanigans. What, is that my 30th album, 31st? Somewhere around there. I don't recall exactly. But yeah, I'm down for that. Attending the Shenanigans. May even have to put the top hat on for it. For parts, because I'm totally sweating now. I'm not sweating as bad as I did on my run. I think I ran about 5 or 6 miles today. So I'm sweating a little more on that. Last week it was hotter, and I was sweating almost as much last week. I took the vest off, and my shirt was almost as sweaty as that time that I got on stream and jumped rope for an hour and 15 minutes. If any of you were there for that, it was that kind of sweat last week. I'm definitely sweating now, but yeah, hat on my head the whole time would be a little. I'm not accustomed to that kind of insulation up here. I'm not like you fancy people with all your hair and all your combs and scissors and stuff. That's not what I do. Nonetheless, we're moving into the last song of the evening. We're gonna get this is an interesting one from a music theory perspective because it's a Phrygian with a sharp 7, which, if you understand music theory, basically that gives you 2 consecutive half steps. So it kind of has these parts with this a bit of a chromatic feel that's fairly intentional, and I shouldn't say it was intentional. I set it up for writing in Phrygian, and then my brain interpreted it as Aeolian, and that led me to put in the sharp 7, and then I realized I was putting in a Phrygian with a sharp 7. I'm like, you know what? Let's roll with it and see what we can do. It came up with some pretty cool chords and ideas in it. Makes it kind of funky to do solos over, but I'm down for funky. Funky's good. So let's get funky. That is not the right way to say this. If someone had just come in, they'd probably think that I was not going to be playing what I'm about to play, because this is definitely not a funky song. It's not grooving and funk. So don't expect that. But for those who already know this song, they know that. This is called Before Eternity. All right. That is the show for the night. Again, thank you all so much for coming in. Thanks for the follows. Thanks for the host. Thanks for the tips. Always appreciated. I am the Mad Poet. You are an audience. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for smelling my show. Next week, attending the Shenanigans live at noon and 8 o'clock post-meridium in the Pacific time zone. And I am looking forward to seeing you there.